Alright boys, welcome back to BBR. This time, round 1 of playoffs versus AIMEL. One of the people that we have the best matches against, and I am so excited to bring this match to you guys today. The way the bracket's set up, the top of the bracket is Leo and Baldy, and then me and AIMEL, and the bottom of the bracket is Keegan and Owen versus Obo and Matt. Which means that it could potentially be us versus Keegan or Obo in finals, which would be awesome, and that's what we would love to see. But we got to get through AIMEL first, and AIMEL is obviously a fantastic player. Like I said, someone that I love playing because we have such good high quality matches every time we play. Shout out to Keegan and Obo for the build help as per usual. The team that AIMEL has is going to be Darkrai, Tetrarant, Quaquaval, Clefable, Latias, Ogerpon Cornerstone, Hippowdon, Regieleki, and Vivian. As far as the 6 that I think AIMEL is bringing, Darkrai, Tetrarant, Quaquaval are the 3 that I think no matter what are going to come. Past that, the only Pokemon that I don't really see coming is going to be Vivian. There is some usability there, but with Scizor, as well as Skarmory, as well as Weavile, I don't think Vivian makes the most sense. I also don't think Regieleki makes a ton of sense because we aren't necessarily weak to Regieleki with Latios plus Sandy Shocks, so if he brings Regieleki, I would be extremely surprised. In my opinion, he just brings the top 6 Pokemon. Hippowdon could definitely make an appearance. It's not a bad lead versus me by any means, and he also gives himself Sandstream for that Ogerpon, and my team doesn't necessarily love dealing with that Sand Chip. However, Clefable for the Latios makes a ton of sense. Latias for help against the Sandy Shocks, as well as a couple of other Pokemon, and having that base 110 speed stat is extremely nice. And then Ogerpon is a fantastic lead if he doesn't bring Hippowdon and he wants to lead that Pokemon. Spikes are also fantastic into me if he does decide to go that route. I think Darkrai would be something like Specs or something like Expert Belt, Life Orb, maybe Nasty Plot. There's a lot of different sets that do well here, but some sort of special breaker makes a lot of sense to me. He can get it in pretty easily, and its speed tier is very, very nice here. Tetrarant, I'm not really sure what to expect. Last time I brought Weavile into AIMEL, he had a Scarf Tetrarant, and that's what he ended up bringing. And I think Scarf Tetrarant looks as good as ever in this matchup. I do have 2 Dark types, so he can't really click Shadow Ball, but he can Parting Shot pretty freely. So I think that Tetrarant with Scarf makes a lot of sense, but just a defensive Tetrarant is pretty difficult for me to break. After that, Quaquaval, I think he brings a Fizz Def Quaquaval for the Weavile, but if he hard reads me that I don't bring Little Man, he could bring an offensive Quaquaval, and that Pokemon could absolutely do dirty. For the next 3 Pokemon, I expect Unaware Clefable. Whether he's Covert Cloak or not, I'm not sure. People haven't really brought Covert Cloak into my Latios this season, so I think he should be Covert Cloak Latios. I think he should be Covert Cloak Clefable. Try saying that 10 times fast, man. I think he should be Covert Cloak Clefable, the hardest thing to say in this entire video, in my opinion, because Swadef Covert Cloak Clefable can live 2 Luster Purges with no drop, and I think that makes a ton of sense because Calm Mind Latios does extremely good into AIMEL, so I think that's what he's going to be. He could be something like a fast Life Orb set with Magic Guard, but I really just don't see that in this matchup. Latias is kind of tough to gauge. Obo brought a really cool Reflect type set in the mock that's kind of got me a little bit stressed, but he could just be a defensive piece with Recovered Dual Stats Baton Pass. And then lastly, Ogerpon, it's hard to really gauge what he's going to be. I think he's going to be like Spike's U-turn Dual Stabs. He could have Knockoff as well, but Dual Stabs is extremely unresisted into my team because I don't have a Steel that resists Rock. Unfortunately, I got 2 of them, and neither of them resist Rock. So Dual Stabs is really all he needs, so Spike's U-turn makes the most sense. He could be Swords Dance Trailblaze instead of those 2 slots as well. That would be fine, and then if Hippowdon comes, it's probably going to be Spadef, in my opinion, because it can take hits from the Latios. Actually, much better than you would think it could. As for the team that we are bringing, the first Pokemon that I am going to put on the team is going to be Latios. Pretty simple, straightforward set, Recover, Calm Mind, Dual Stabs. This set went through a couple of changes. Originally, I had a Calm Mind Agility Weakness Policy set that I thought did extremely well, but even after a Calm Mind, an Agility, and the Weakness Policy, we don't kill Clefable. The Stored Power doesn't get quite strong enough, because it does ignore the boost with Unaware, but Stored Power still gets stronger itself, so we would eventually be hitting him with a base 140 move. That's a whole lot for me to explain, for me to say that we are not bringing it. So I decided Soul Dew just does really well. Dual Stabs do crazy into AIMEL. Recover gives us some sort of longevity versus something like the Hippowdon, and Calm Mind allows us to set up in a couple of different things faces. Like if we get 1 up, we can live a hit from the Darkrai, we can set up on the Tetrarant. Latios in general just does very, very well here. The primary purpose for this is going to be Breaker, but I very well could see an avenue where we win with this Pokemon in the in-game. We just have to get Clefable chipped. I want to get this Pokemon in early to figure out whether or not that's Covert Cloak. Obviously, it's not guaranteed if we don't get the drop, but we should have a pretty good idea if he is Covert Cloak or not once we click Luster Purge, and that's his initial switch in. Next up, we're going with an AV Annihilate. I know I brought this thing so many times, and originally this was not going to be my answer to Darkrai, and I really debated back and forth because Darkrai does get Will-O-Wisp, whether he's going to be Wisp, whether he's going to be Hypnosis. He's probably going to be Willow, in which case this won't be the best answer in the world, but it gives us U-turn momentum, and we're able to take hits from that Pokemon pretty well. I'm still not super confident that this is the best Annihilate set in the matchup, but it's what we're going with. Rage Fist and Drain Punch are unresisted, and Facade's there in case we do get Will-O-Wisp. It's a little tough to click that because once we're burned, Petrarch should just be the switch in depending on how boosted Rage Fist is, but because we are Vital Spirit, we do block the Hypnosis portion of that set. Like I said, he could bring Wisp, and this could be a poor set. Maybe I should have just been Spadef Rest Talk, which is something else that I considered, but getting that momentum regardless, I think is very valuable. Our EVs allow us to live 2 +1 Darkrai Psychics, that is in case he is going to be Choice Specs or Calm Mind. We can outspeed the Petrarch, creeping a 24 speed Comfey, and then we put the rest into Attack Adamant. This is also a Pokemon that can catch something like Clefable or Latias off guard and get some big damage on the board from those Pokemon. Next up, we've got Big Man. We're Choice Scarf Big Man. We have Spikes just in case, we have Jet just in case, and then Gunk Shot plus Crunch. There's no real switch in on our opponent's team. This Pokemon does really well. Speed Tide's the Quack at +1, but I don't think he's going to be max speed offensive Quack. And even if he is, we should be able to live one after the -1 from Intimidate. This Pokemon, we're able to get it in early. We're able to catch Pokemon off guard, catch the Darkrai off guard, catch the Latias off guard, and get KOs on those Pokemon very, very early. This Pokemon is also important because it helps us break the Petrarch. We're just max speed, max attack. We don't have to overthink it. We speed tie the Quack just in case, worst case, he is for some reason an offensive Quack, which is a possibility if he hard reads that I don't bring Quillfish. And then other than that, we're set. Our next Pokemon is going to be our guaranteed lead. We're going to have Scizor. This is to combat pretty much anything that our opponent decides to lead. If he leads to Powdon, he shouldn't be very fast. We have some speed for creeps just in case he is. We U-turn out, we go into our Latios. If he leads Ogerpon and he has the Quack in the back, we're able to dual Wing Beat into that. We're able to U-turn to get momentum into that. We have Defog just in case he does decide to Hazard Stack, which is a pretty real possibility into me, so Boots plus Defog allows this Fizz Def Scizor to switch in on the Ogerpon even if it's late game and get a Defog off if need be, because obviously we have Bullet Punch and U-turn, both of which scare out that Pokemon. And then dual Wing Beat is here because I don't want to allow the Quack any opportunity to set up in case it is an offensive Quack, because while I still think that it's going to be a defensive Quack for our Weavile, the possibility is there, and I don't want any avenue where that Quack wins the game. And we originally had knockoff over dual Wing Beat to knock off the Petrarch's potential Scarf and do some damage for that. But a problem that I kept running into in mocks is that I kept losing the Quack, so dual Wing Beat prevents that. We have enough defense to live 2 Ogerpon Cudgels. Like I said, we've got a little bit of speed for the creeps, and then we went to rest in attack. Next up, we're going to be Booster Speed Andy Shocks with Thunder Wave, Metal Sound, Thunderbolt, and Earth Power. Metal Sound is strictly there because Obo scared me to death with the fact that he had that Reflect type on the Latias. So Metal Sound allows us to put him down and get into a position to where we can break it with our Latios in the back. Or if he Reflect types something else, we can break it with Andy Shocks itself. Thunder Wave is good for that Latias on top of other Pokemon that want to switch in and want to get on top of other Pokemon like Darkrai that want to switch in, and we could get the Thunder Wave easily on that. Darkrai switch in offensively, that is. Other than that, dual stabs do fantastic. Booster Speed gives us an extra way out of that Quack. Booster Speed gives us a way out of that Darkrai. And obviously this Pokemon is here just in case Regieleki decides to show its face. But in general, this Pokemon does fantastic offense. I wanted the booster that we have to be Booster Speed, so we are at max speed with as much special attack as we can possibly have with the rest into HP. A very simple set, but Andy Shocks plays a very important role here. And then lastly, I know we don't have any cool sets this week. I apologize. We have Weavile, really basic Boots set. We have 4 attacks, Boots just in case he does get hazards up, because it's possible, and me defogging them away with Scizor isn't always likely. Like if Hippowdon is his rocker and he does bring that Pokemon we don't really like defogging, maybe as the Petrarch comes in, but it's a little difficult. Sure, it gives us priority against something like the Darkrai or something that may be potentially Scarfed like the Latias or Agility Up. Triple Axle and Knockoff are free, and then Aerial Ace hits the Quack for actual good damage. We're simply max speed to speed tie the Darkrai, max attack, and that is going to be the team. The way that we've been able to win this in the mocks is usually get everything in range of Weavile in-game, which is obviously something that I'm no stranger to. We kind of just have to outlast the Darkrai and get things in range of that Weavile. We can also get things in range of Latios. That's another potential out in this matchup. But essentially, we have to outlast the Darkrai and the Quaquaval. That's going to be the team, guys. Let me know what you guys think of it down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. And for now, guys, this has been John Jr. signing off.